Hello everyone, my name is Financial Charles and today is August 26th of 2023. Current Bitcoin price is just above $26,000 and I know I haven't made a video in multiple days. That's because I've just been very busy with school and work. I've been, going to either school or work every day for, quite a while now. And even right now I'm making this video while at work for my lunch break. So I wanted to make this video because I think it's very important to appreciate the range that we're in right now. I know I started making videos around this range and I said 30K was a buy. So that means this dip down here is even a bigger time to buy. Right now we're actually lower than this whole entire rally right here that was ranging from 30,000 to about 27,000. All of this price action right here, we are now currently below it, and we've been below it for about a week already. So I wanted to say that I finally got my check yesterday and I lump summed everything once again. So take that as you will. Perhaps that is your indication that it's going to go even lower, because every single time I lump sum it goes lower. Because I remember I made a video talking about I lump summed right here and then the very next day it just drops like crazy. I mean, like crazy, but I mean it's it's a sizable drop that we've had in a while, and I was so glad that it continued to stay down here at this level, because I thought that by the time that I would get paid it would do some type of recovery, so I wouldn't be able to buy here at the $25,000 range. But luckily for me, I was able to buy, and now I just cannot wait for the next 2 weeks so I can buy even more. In terms of where Bitcoin is going to be in the next 2 weeks, I have no idea. A lot of people on Reddit have been saying that it's going to go down to 20K, and I'm telling you right now, you do not want to wait for that opportunity, because you might end up like the people that were waiting for 12K and 10K when it was at 15K. And as you can see, during the $15,000 range, it never went below. Now I know a lot of YouTubers in the space, and a lot of data suggests that Bitcoin will continue to go lower and lower and possibly test these lows from before, because if we just rewind to the previous cycle, you could see that here it bottomed out around 3,000, and then we had a rally, and then it slowly bled, and then we had the Corona dump that took us all the way down to 4,000. So a lot of people are saying that that might be the case for this cycle. And even if you go to the cycle before that, you could see here that we bottomed pretty much here January 2015 at about $150, and then it just went sideways kind of, and then it looks like it tested once more in August. So this was in January, this was in August. So you could say that it tried to test down, and I think on some exchanges this was a lower low, but for these pre-halving years, you could see that according to history, we have established a bottom and then rallied and then went back down to test it, and that's very apparent here in last cycle's pre-halving year. But you can also make the argument that this only happened because of the coronavirus scare, and let's pretend if coronavirus never happened, perhaps maybe the dump would have only went down to here and it never would have gone down to this $3,000, $4,000 level like it did. So you could argue that a lot of people are saying it might happen the same thing here, like this was probably the high, and this right here, this was a whole distribution phase, and now it's going to bleed lower until the halving. But I'm telling you right now, you do not want to wait, and I'm telling you, Bitcoin right now is $26,000, and I really think that when you say that out loud, Bitcoin is $26,000, you're really going to regret not going all in right now at 26,000. Like to be picky and say that you want to wait till 20,000, it's like, what is that, a difference of 20%? I think you'd be better off just buying everything now, and then just keep on working at your job in 2 weeks. If it is lower, who knows if it's going to be higher or lower, but if it's lower, then you'll have another opportunity to buy lower. But the thing is I think the reason that people get scared of buying at this range and they want it to go lower is because they still see it in terms of US dollar. whereas me, I'm seeing it in terms of sats. So if you bought $1,000 worth of sats here and you bought $1,000 worth of sats here, you're getting a discount on your sats. For the purchase, it's the same amount of US dollar value, but now you're getting more sats, and sats are limited, you know? There are 100 million sats in a Bitcoin, and there are only 21 million Bitcoins to ever be in circulation. That's the maximum cap. That's the maximum limit. So once you start seeing it like that, once you start seeing it as a game of accumulating sats as opposed to accumulating dollars, you will wake up every day hoping to buy more Bitcoin, and you will continue to wake up hoping that it actually goes lower so that way you can accumulate more. But, you know, a lot of the data, a lot of the YouTubers, they're saying that it's going to go down, but you really do not want to wait for it to go down because it might never go down. And not only that, but even if it goes down to 22,000 or something, or 20,000, when it goes down to 20,000, now you're going to say, let's wait until 15,000. And if it goes down to 15,000, maybe you'd be crazy enough to think, all right, let's just wait till 12,000 and 10,000, because this is exactly what happened here. You know, back when Celsius got liquidated and Three Arrows Capital got liquidated and it sent Bitcoin all the way down to $17,000, you know, that was a very good time to buy. And even though it did go to $15,000, it's like if we was at $17,000 here and then you said, all right, I'm going to wait till $15,000, you would have been in so much pain when you saw this rally happen right here, just going up and up and up, and went all the way to $24,000. And now you're probably thinking, oh, it was at 17, now it's at $24,000. I might never get the opportunity to buy at 15, so then you buy here. And then next thing you know, the market throws you in for a turn, and now you're back to that $17,000 range. Then it drops down to $15,000. And when you said that you were going to buy at $15,000 back here at $17,000, and you got your opportunity to buy it here in November, everyone was yelling 10K, 12K. I know some people were encouraging to buy, which is good, but you know, there was a lot of fear that, you know, it was going down even lower to 12K or 10K. You don't want to, you know, wait for 20K. You don't want to wait for 15K. I don't even want to wait for below 25K. I'm buying everything up right now. I don't care where it's at, because, you know, at the end of the day, by the time the halving comes, which is, you know, April of 2024, so right here, you know, Bitcoin is just going to continue to go up and up and up. You know, that's according to history. Don't argue with me, argue with the data, as Benjamin Cowen says. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say. The main idea of this video is you do not want to wait for it to go lower. This is your opportunity to buy now. You know, the thing is, you want to look back in a couple years and say, yeah, that's right. I did buy Bitcoin at $26,000. I bought it all at $26,000. You know, this is going to be a very good price point for us to look back at it in a couple years. Just the same exact way people were buying at $10,000, and now like thinking about buying at $10,000, that seems amazing, you know. So yeah, this is our opportunity to get in before the whales do, before BlackRock and Larry Fink get in. Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk, perhaps he will eventually buy back into the space soon, because I know that he sold all his Bitcoin, or SpaceX sold all of their Bitcoins, and Evergrande was bankrupt, so that was the cost for this little candle right here. In the grand scheme of things, you're gonna rock it up. And you know, if you weren't accumulating here, you would have missed this whole entire rally up. This was a very powerful rally that we experienced at the beginning of this year. So imagine you missed this rally up, and now you're stuck to buying at 23,000, 24,000, you know what I'm saying? You could have bought all the way down here at the trenches of 16,000, 17,000. So time in the market beats timing the market, because, you know, if you spend time here, you spend time here, you get to experience this juicy pump here. Whereas if you just wait and you don't invest as soon as you possibly can, the FOMO is going to get the best of you psychologically, and you're going to end up buying here, and you just completely missed out on this rally here. Now, obviously, you got to experience that rally and that rally, but, you know, fact of the matter is, you know, you don't want to FOMO into the market. You just want to continuously buy, put the emotions aside and just continuously buy. I want to just go back here. This is, you know, the post that I made a couple days ago, and I made a video about this, but I just wanted to reiterate that 0.0002 Bitcoins may be enough for you to be the top 1%, because there are 7.5 billion people on Earth. there are 75 million people that are in that top 1%, and there are only 50 million Bitcoin addresses. If we assume that 50 million Bitcoin address represents one person each, which it doesn't, we know for a fact it doesn't, but if it does, then, and there are 19.5 million coins in circulation as of right now, and the remaining 1.5 are going to be, mined over the next 120 years, and let's say all 50 million wallets are now illiquid because they're permanent hodlers and they believe it, those are coins that will never sell at any price, right? And I know never is a strong word, and a lot of people saying in the comments it stops being money if you say never ever. If no one ever sells it, then it has no value at all. But again, using it to transmit value across time, that is the use case. That is where the value lies. And I know that never means never, and that spans across time, but I guess I don't really mean never. I guess, at a certain point of time, you would be able to sell your Bitcoin to, help you survive and help you live, and, but the point is, just to hold it as long as possible and just sell it at a price in which, sounds good to you, or I don't know, who's going through what, or perhaps you need somewhere to live. But by the time that event occurs, Bitcoin may have risen a lot, and you would be able to, sell that Bitcoin that you bought at a very cheap price. You could sell it for, a living accommodation or whatever. But anyway, let's go back up here. 7.5 billion people would be fighting over the remaining 1.5 million coins. And if you divide the 1.5 million coins amongst the 7.5 billion people that don't hold it yet, there's only enough for them to hold 0.002 coins each. So if you hold more than 0.0002, then perhaps you could be, the 1% of the human population. So that just goes to show you how rare Bitcoin is and how rare that it's going to be in the future. It's already so hard to get a whole coin. It's actually you have to put away, $26,000 to have a whole Bitcoin, So not a lot of people can, afford that up all at once. I know that there are people that do, but according to, data, a majority of people in the world cannot do that. So, a couple years ago, even in 2017, 2016, there was a point where Bitcoin was literally $600, and that's crazy to think about, right? There was a point where, people were, accumulating Bitcoins, multiples of Bitcoins, and now it's really hard to get one. And imagine how hard in the future it's going to be to get a fraction of one. We're not even going to be worried about whole coiners in the future. We're going to be worried about who can get to 0.1. Right now, we're worried about who can get to 1, and that's 1 in 21 million. In a couple years, we're going to be like, all right, who can get to 0.1? Who has the privilege of getting to 0.1, which is 1 in 210 million? And there are over 300 million people in New York alone, So even if you have 0.1, not everyone in New York can have 0.1 Bitcoins, so it's a very scarce asset, and perhaps we don't even realize how scarce it can be. And one last thing with this video is I saw this post on Reddit here talking about reasons for selling, and I see this post so many times. I've seen this over the past couple years, and I want to tell you exactly what happens every single time, where this guy's like, I've been accumulating and hodling for several years now. All right, so if he's been doing that for several years, we can assume that, he knows what makes Bitcoin valuable, and we can assume that he has strong hands and he won't, paper hand, at a loss or anything. And then here's where his wife comes into the equation, where the wife is essentially, she wants to, sell some Bitcoin to buy a house, right? But let me tell you, every single time, this guy is not the only one that has done this before, that has told this story. There are people, they say, yep, I'm selling so I can buy a house. And then they buy a house. And then 6 years later, we look back at the post talking about, oh, I sold, 10 Bitcoins, or I sold 100 Bitcoins to buy a house. And then years later, it's like they could have bought that same exact house for, a fraction of the amount of Bitcoins that they spent. And then what happens is that they sell their house that they bought with Bitcoin so they can buy back a fraction of the Bitcoin that they sold to get the house in the first place. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say here is the Bitcoin is going to appreciate faster than the real estate. I know the real estate has other use cases, such as, it provides you with shelter, and I think that's what the use case should be, But the use case of Bitcoin is you're able to use it to store your value and send it across time. You can send value to yourself in the future without it being deflated by the U.S. government, by the Federal Reserve. You know what I mean? You cannot do that with the U.S. dollar. And even with gold, you can transport 30 years, or you can transport whatever amount of gold you want 30 years into the future. It's going to be worth half in 30 years. That's because, Michael Saylor, he said that the half-life of gold is 30 years. Whereas, Bitcoin, it's limited. It's a fixed amount. There's nothing even close to it, This is a once-in-a-lifetime asset, and we're just very lucky to be born in the age of the internet. We're very lucky to be born in the age of Bitcoin. They say that we are too early, or we were born too late to explore the world, and we were born too early to explore the universe. But, we're born just in time to see, the birth of the digital world, and we're born just in time to see the birth of the hardest money that the world has ever seen. So that's all I had for today, and I actually thought this was a very good video. I think I'm getting better at these videos, so I will continue to make more. And if I don't upload every day, perhaps it's for the sake of creating a higher quality video. I don't want to just make garbage videos every day. If it means making better quality videos, but I have to spread it out over a couple days, then so be it. I thought this was a really good video, and I hope you guys appreciate it. And yeah, that's all I had to say for today. So please like and subscribe, and I will see you again in the future.